I now call to order the September 2020 meeting of the New Caney Independent School District Board of Trustees, current time 6:01. Let the minutes show that a quorum is present with all members in attendance. Please rise for the invocation to be given by Ms. Harrell. Remain standing for Pledge of Allegiance and honor the Texas flag to be led by Mr. Trout. Item 2 on the agenda is recognitions. Miss Angelic, New Caney Elementary High, how are you? She's going to be doing our recognitions for this month. How's it going?
Great. How are y'all?
Good.
Good.
Excited to see the kids back.
We are so excited to be here. You know what the funny thing is? This is my third year and my first time to get to do this.
Awesome.
So I actually felt like I should have brought 3 of each. But so I am super excited to be here with these amazing people this evening. And of course I have to put my readers on here. So we are going to start with Esmeralda Ramirez. Esmeralda has been a student at New Caney Elementary since kindergarten. She is hardworking and kind and comes every day ready to not only do her best, but to help her peers do their best as well. She exemplifies school pride, the 7 mindsets, and the values we strive for across our campus. Esmeralda has continually achieved success academically and personally with her huge heart, determination, and generous spirit. Her teachers brag on her often and recognize the hard work she puts in every day. Esmeralda is a model student with amazing potential. I'm excited to hear about the things she achieves as she moves through her school career and after. It is an honor to recognize her as New Caney Elementary's outstanding student. Okay, next we have Miss Perry. Miss Perry is currently a pre-K inclusion teacher at NCE. She consistently goes above and beyond to ensure the students in her classroom are successful. Taking on a new inclusion program this year, Miss Perry has embraced implementation of the program, continuing to serve as a role model and mentor for other teachers. She always has a smile on her face, even during a full moon. Not only does Miss Perry provide an amazing learning environment for her students, but she also helps facilitate our community outreach committee, planning with our teachers for campus and community events. She is always willing to help out no matter where there is a need on campus. She will problem solve and find a way. She also serves on the A team assembled by Ms. Schaffner, providing feedback for team instruction at the district level. Ms. Perry has a servant's heart, bigger than most I know. Thank you for allowing me to recognize Ms. Perry as NCE's outstanding teacher. Okay, I think I knocked that out of your hand. Okay. Next, we have Brenda Weston, lovingly known as Miss Brenda. She has served at NCE for the past 2 years as a SPED inclusion para. Miss Brenda and I actually go back 24 years, where she and I worked together in a neighboring district that I won't mention. She has always been a go-getter with energy and enthusiasm. And with a heart of gold, she approaches each student with a smile and love that goes beyond words. She has a positive attitude that is contagious. Miss Brenda doesn't just show up for work every day. She looks for ways to make others smile and ensure that NCE is the best it can be. She cooks for others. She beautifies our campus with plants. She buys donuts for safety patrol when they're working really hard to unload cars in the morning. The list goes on and on. After all this time, it is a true honor to be able to recognize her for the person she is and the hard work she puts in day after day. Please join me in congratulating Miss Brenda, NCE's outstanding para. Next, we have Nancy Cardenas. Miss Nancy is extremely hardworking and kind. She always has a smile and a willing attitude. When I hear her called over the radio for things such as, Miss Nancy, a student was sick in the kinder hallway. Miss Nancy, there was a spill in the 4th grade hallway. Miss Nancy, the answer coming through the back door again. She always answers with, okay, I'm on my way. She's always positive and calm, willing to do whatever it takes to make sure students and staff have a clean, well-maintained place to work and learn. She is a joy to work with, and we greatly appreciate her hard work and dedication. Nancy Cardenas, NCE's outstanding custodian. Last but certainly not least, I have just gotten to know Michelle this year. She does not like to be recognized, so I'm going to go ahead and point that out because she's has a bit of a hard time being recognized for things. It has been such a pleasure to have Miss Gilmore and her team join the NCE staff this year. She is hardworking and strives to ensure students and staff are well taken care of every day. Michelle is always looking for ways to improve service and ensure efficiency. I'm sure you have all had lunch with your child at some time or another, and it's amazing to see everything that goes into running a safe and efficient kitchen. It is obvious Michelle maintains a positive working environment for her team while maintaining high standards. She is always willing to serve and seeks out feedback for improvement. Debbie Needham, thank you for sending Michelle our way. She is a gem. NCE's outstanding child nutrition employee, Michelle Gilmore. And these are our amazing folks here. Thank you, guys. Miss Brenda, go over this way. You're going to shake hands. Oh.
Like in spirit. Yeah, we do. I'm going to grab you. You're going to come this way. No, where's the rope? Okay, up next is Miss Lowe. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Dogwood Elementary.
Have everyone, yes. Awesome. Good night or good evening. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to recognize some of our staff members and of course our students as well. So when I had to think about who I was going to bring tonight, kind of a common theme came together. Number one, everything is possible from one of our 7 mindsets, and number 2, live to give. All of these people here in front of you exemplify those 2 mindsets and so much more, and they're such a huge part of what makes Dogwood such an awesome place to be. So I'm going to start with Miss Mercedes Silva. She is our cafeteria manager, and you can imagine the last 2 years the things that all of us had to deal with, but especially 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines. We're short 6 people. It's going to be fine. We'll get them through here. We're going to get all the kids fed no matter what. She absolutely has a servant heart, a yes attitude. Let's make it happen, Miss Lowe. Not a problem. Breakfast in the cafeteria, breakfast in the rooms. The kids are fed, and they come in that cafeteria going through that line knowing that they're loved. And that's because of what she leads her staff to do. So Miss Mercedes Silva, our cafeteria recognition for Dogwood Elementary. For our paraprofessional at Dogwood, Miss Adela Olvera, I chose her. Adela Olvera, one thing I learned about her last year that I did not know is this is the first real job she's had. And when she's in a classroom, you can't tell if she's the teacher, the para, or maybe a college student. She looks super young, but can go in there and lead the class like a seasoned teacher. And she can deliver high instructional strategies that maybe she's picked up from a training or that she's picked up from the EL coach. And she delivers love and definitely consistent with her small groups. And so we appreciate what she does for our students. And again, flexibility, I feel like is part of her name. Yes, ma'am, wherever you need me. Yes, Miss Lowe, I can do that. And you don't lose any consistency or authentic instruction wherever she's at. She can really do it all. So thank you, Miss Olvera. You are our paraprofessional. Okay, for our custodian, Miss Alejandra Vargas. So she came to us, I think, end of last year, beginning of this year. And this year, more than ever, students were a little bit more nervous about coming to school. And one of the things that I noticed with her right away was her heart. Absolutely cleaning, but a student didn't want to leave the cafeteria. She grabbed her trash can and said, "Come on, come with me, help me roll this to class." That little girl followed behind her. I couldn't get it to happen. The teacher couldn't get it to happen. But the intervention of Miss Vargas is what got her back to class. And that just exemplifies what she does every day, not just for caring for our building, but more than anything, caring for our kids. And so she goes that extra mile all the time. So thank you, Miss Vargas. Okay, Mrs. Downs. Our pre-K teacher. Last year she taught kindergarten. I think she's taught second grade as well. Last year was definitely tough for everyone, but at Dogwood Elementary we were working really hard to make some systemic changes, and more than anything she was like, yes, let's do it, let's do it. We want to change this, let's do it. Very open to feedback, to coaching, and I've never seen a teacher whose heart is as big as hers for her kids, and she's got passions that are going to take her further than just a classroom. She's got some things that she wants to explore with different avenues in education, and she's going to go far with that and bless the students that she's with. So I'm so grateful to be able to recognize her as our outstanding teacher for Dogwood Elementary. Okay. And our student, Miss Kyra Horton, she is here representing Dogwood. When I met her last year, I've never seen a day where she doesn't have a smile. What you see right now is absolutely what she has every day. When I asked her teachers some things to say about Kyra, they both said, number one, she is the first to recognize other students who are doing well. Number two, she is optimistic and she is an encourager, no matter what. And those characteristics, Kyra, are better than anything else. Athleticism, academics, you exemplify integrity and honesty and being a good citizen and a good character. And for that reason, I chose you to come here and represent Dogwood. And I know she's going to move on to Kiefer and represent New Caney well wherever she goes. So Kyra Horton, our student for Dogwood.
As you can see there, our principals do a great job, our teachers do a great job, but there's a lot more individuals other than those that invest in our kids every day by doing the little things, so that's why we do the recognitions. Obviously, there's a lot more there that can be recognized, but it takes all these different individuals in the school to give us what exactly we want, which is safety for our kids and the smile that she's got on her face right now. So we appreciate those guys, and our support staffs are wonderful, and our elementaries all the way up. So we appreciate those guys a lot. We're going to move into item 3, which is open forum. I'll read the open forum statement first, and I just need to read it one time. We've got multiple that are going to be speaking, so I'll read that one time, and then we won't have to go back to that again. Shannon and Michael Perry, how are you? Good. You guys can come up to the mic. I'm going to read the statement, and then we'll start the time. But I'm going to go ahead and read the open forum statement, and then we'll let you start, okay? So the board encourages comments from citizens in district or employees. Anyone wishing to speak either as an individual or represent a group may do so at this time. The board asks that comments pertain to public education issues and be no longer than 5 minutes. Remember, the board may not discuss any issues that are not placed on our agenda. It is an issue, if an issue is mentioned, is listed on tonight's agenda, the board will defer discussion until the appropriate time during this meeting. In addition, the board has adopted complaint policies that are designed to secure at the lowest administration level for a prompt and equitable resolution for complaints or concerns, and our policies are always available at newcaneyisd.org. Ms. Harrell's going to keep the clock for us, and we appreciate you coming. So you can go ahead and start.
Okay, I'm going to try to get it in. I'm here to represent a lot of parents, and so I do want to start because Joanna East McDonald asked me to read this statement. So at 10:06, my 16-year-old son called me, and the words he spoke I will forever have in my head. Mom, come now, there's a shooting, I'm running, come now. The phone went dead. My 17-year-old daughter, husband, and I left home, and we were at Texaco near the school in 6 minutes. Normally, the drive is 12 minutes at least. My son was able to call back as we backed down the driveway. He was still running. He was making his way through the parking lot, the tennis courts, the field, and the woods. He helped 3 girls over a fence, and 4 of them made their way to Texaco. I was on the other line our entire drive to school. I could hear yelling, panic, running, heavy breathing, terror. Yes, sir, I said terror. At the time, or at periods I thought during this, I was able to hear him and know he was alive and running, but multiple times the line would go silent. I wouldn't hear him. I wouldn't hear the girls. I thought multiple times my son was in grave danger or my son was dead. I'm not being dramatic. I'm not being an overbearing mother. I'm being human. I tell you, Mr. Turner, that the entire school board and the staff of NCISD, I thought my son was dead or going to die. Do you understand that? Do you understand the gravity of that? And that's probably the feelings of most of the parents of Porter High School that had their kid there that night. My concern is the way things were handled and the way things are being handled currently. And that was what I wanted to address and what some of the things that were told. The first point that we want to make is parents were not notified to pick up our kids. We can get calls for traffic. We can get calls about school days not happening because of weather. But we did not get an immediate call to pick up our children. We got panicked calls from our children or from other people telling us to come get our kids, their friends. When my husband came around the corner, there were hundreds of kids running across the field. There were kids being put in danger going to 1314, which is not the friendliest road because my daughter got in a bad accident over there. We did not get any official word from the school until 20 hours later, the next evening. That is unsatisfactory. In the interim of the gaps of silence that we had, that's where the rumors and speculation began to go wild, causing more fear because you were not transparent. Fear was caused through all these things that they were hearing and that there were, this and that. Y'all did not get ahead of it. And even since then, we got one notification that said pretty much nothing, and it did not do anything to calm the fears of the parents or the kids. Today, I met with the principal because I had to know my kid was safe because, of course, the next rumor is there's another threat. And as I told my son, there will continue to be until they get an answer because people fearmongers, right? And they're going to cause this. So I can't have you every day not go. But you have parents afraid to send their kids. There were a third of the kids in the classrooms today. But my son went to we spoke with the principal, and he went to the counselor. So it sounds like so far that it's an unsubstantiated threat or allegation or whatever you want to call it. But the trauma is real. My kid is distant because he keeps thinking what he should have done and what could have happened if he didn't save the person that he ran when he ran. He has real trauma. Regardless if it's a hoax, the parents have real fear that their kids are not in a safe environment. So what I want to know is how y'all are going to address the trauma that these children are feeling. And while they think there's someone still responsible and not caught, they have the fear that it's going to eventually happen to them. Fortunately, it seems like we've been blessed with an exercise. I'm ex-military, I'm current law enforcement. I'm very thankful that I hugged my kid's neck that night, and that every parent can say the same. But what I want to know is, what are you going to do in the future? What are y'all going to do with this blessed exercise that, unfortunately, the more population we get and the more undesirable gang activity and drug activity that I'm hearing from my kids? Okay, we want to know what you're going to do with that in the future. And the other thing is, my kid came home today and was told that he's not allowed to talk about this. So we're going to continue to let these rumors and speculations go wild on social media, and we're not addressing it. We have to address this. Silence is not the answer. And I did ask that if I missed anything, can we please let me know if I missed something? Yes.
I don't know if you should go to a course not. I mean, it's a what?
The violence at Porter, the drug deals at Porter High School, all of that stuff, cocaine in the bathroom, what are we doing about it? Well, this was.
Well, then, Kim,
You posed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people's voices in 5 minutes. That's part of it, because that's part of the problem. If there's someone else on the list.
she is signed up to speak. And I tried to address everybody's thing, but you have 5 different parents with 5 different concerns. And although some of ours are the same.
Okay. What's your name, ma'am?
My name is Brenda.
Bridget?
Understood.
Fitch?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can step up. Oh,
So here's what I have concerns about. My name is Bridget Fitch.
it's Bridget Fitch, F-I-T-C-H.
My 5 minutes started? I'll take 2. So
We're
at
here-
Porter
we're here
High
for you.
School,
Yeah.
what's going on is in the bathrooms, they're shutting down bathrooms in one corridor or the other corridor, trying to curb problems of kids dealing drugs in those bathrooms. Not just drugs, but cartridges, huge boxes of pot pens, of cocaine. They're cartridges. They're like vape pens, but it's pot instead. These are real issues that we're having. They're tearing doors off the bathrooms. They're tearing things off because there's something called a something lick on social media where kids are just making more and more chaos. And chaos begets chaos begets chaos. If you don't think that the direct reflection of these kids acting out and doing this stuff is not exactly directly reflected of what happened on Saturday night, you are gravely mistaken. Those kids are acting out, and I don't know if it's not your fault. I get that. We're not blaming you. But we need to feel secure and safe in sending our kids to school. I have a freshman and I have a high schooler, or a senior. I have one of each. My son has watched everything get worse and worse and worse. My kids came from Woodridge. Most of those kids don't know this stuff over there. And then we're coming into this and this is new territory. My daughter is an AP honors student. She is going for valedictorian as a freshman. But she's scared to even go to school. My child can't even get an education. That's not fair. That's not okay. So if you're going to address the problem of the maybe shooting, there was a gun, there wasn't a gun, that's moot. Address the problem in the high school. Get in there, figure out what's going on, why there's so much gang activity, why there's so much drugs, why every other day somebody says, oh, so-and-so is bringing a gun to school, oh, so-and-so got in a fight. There's 5, 6, 7 fights a day there. We grew up in the 90s. I grew up with my graduating class was 112 students. Maybe I'm naive that I think that my kids should have the right to go to school and have a happy-go-lucky day, but the least thing is, if there was a gun call, it's because Ronnie forgot his gun in the rack after he went hunting. Now if you got a gun call, it's because somebody is going to do something. Somebody's going to shoot. The rumor from that night was there was 8 students, 4 of which brought guns, 4 of which didn't. I don't know if you know that rumor. 4 of which didn't bring guns because they were expecting to get in a fight at the homecoming. The gun that was showed in the snapshot and Snapchat is what we're seeing. So we want to know, was there a gun there? Yes or no? Simple as that. I think it's a pretty easy question. Was it between just individual people that were getting in a fight, or were they planning on shooting up the school? Because guess what? Those are 2 very different scenarios, right? One's mass murder, one's a bunch of stupid kids that getting shot. And unfortunately, that's the day, that's what we live in. I teach my kids, run, hide, fight. I am oil and gas. Because of all the shootings and stuff like that, we teach our children that. We come from LaPorte. I need y'all to understand that. I don't come from any, just iffy town. We come from LaPorte. And these kids are worse here than LaPorte. You want to compare yourself to a school? My kids were safer going to LaPorte ISD. There's your grade. There's how you're doing. If you don't know LaPorte, look it up. That's it.
Thank you. Ms. Haggard. Oh, hi.
So I'm Christina Haggard. My daughter goes to Porter High School, and I'm not going to belabor all the stuff that we know that's happened. I want to know what we're going to do going forward. What is our plan of action? Is there something that's going to be put in place? Are there going to be make sure that we have the people in place to make sure that this never happens again, so that the students, when something is said, that there are administrators or teachers or somebody that is there to make sure that this doesn't happen. So my daughter was one of the ones that took off running towards 1314, and so thank God nothing happened to her. We got her, she was safe, but you know, when she did, there was a whole lot of students that were running to 1314 at 10 o'clock at night. It's pitch black. That's a very busy road. And so I want to know, what are we going to do to prevent the students? That's a long way for those kids to have to run to got to 1314 from where because they were on the back side of the school. That was a long way to go. Why were there nothing, no cops, no administrator, nothing to stop these students from running? And I get you got a mass running at you, but they're started at point 1. So somewhere along the way, there should have been something, more people that could have stepped up. So what is our protocol going to be going forward? How are we going to fix this? What are we going to do to fix it? And do we have those things in place? And if there was a policy, are we going to go back to our teachers and administrators and say, why didn't you follow the protocol? And let the parents know, we did have a policy. This is where we failed. This is how we're going to fix it. This is what we're going to do going forward. Because what happened, I feel, was a failure across all levels. This should have never gotten to this place. We have fire drills. We have practices that we do regularly to make sure that our students are safe. So when they're at a dance or at a school-sponsored event, there should be protocols in place to make sure that things, when we have football games here, we go through at the beginning of the game, exit this way, this is your emergency plan, this is all your stuff. So anytime we have those things going on, there is a plan in place. What are we going to do in the future to make sure that this never happens to anybody else's child again? So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Ms. Davis. Hello, Vicki. How are you?
I've been better. So I really don't have a whole lot to add, except that Lizzie was not a runner. And I asked her why she didn't run. And she said that she didn't run because every day at school they have threats. Threats of gun violence, threats of knives. And so my whole thing is, why don't we address that? Why don't we do something about that? Whether we get metal detectors, I mean, I hate it. I graduated from New Caney in '76. It was a good school. But more and more people are coming out, and I think it's bringing a lot of undesirables, if you will. So maybe we need metal detectors. I never thought I'd see the day that New Caney ISD needed metal detectors, but maybe that day's here. Maybe they need clear backpacks. But Lizzie didn't run, and that terrifies me that she didn't run, because when I went up there to check on her, we were coming home from the fair. And I seen all these cars coming out of the school and coming into the school, and I called her, and she's like, I don't know what to do. You know, somebody said there's a gun, but I don't believe there's a gun, because every day someone says there's a gun at school, every day. And I'm like, get out of that school right now, and I'll turn in and come pick you up, which we did. We went in and picked her up and drove her around back, which that's another thing I thought was kind of stupid. They made them park in the teacher's parking lot, and then when this incident happened, it made it very, very difficult for those kids to get out of there, because, you know, that long driveway around to the back, which is really very narrow driveway, if they had been over in the student parking, it's way bigger with multiple ways to exit out of there. So then you had to drive, I had to drive down that long driveway, get her to her car, and then get back in that long line of traffic. And I didn't see any police officers until we were leaving, and then finally seen a couple of Montgomery County Sheriff's officers roll in like they was in no big hurry, no big deal. I'm thinking it wasn't their kid that could have got shot, you know. So that's my whole thing. Just why, I mean, I can't believe that every day my kid has to go to school worried to death that there's a gun or a knife. And my kid didn't go to school today.
Thank you, Ms. Vicki. Ms. McDonald.
I'm Joanna McDonald. I was a student at New Caney, and I have 5 children that have gone to New Caney ISD schools. Thank you. I'm not going to read that again, but I have given a copy to somebody, and it was for you specifically, Mr. Turner, and I would like you to take your time, and I would like you to read it and understand.
Did you give me a copy?
I did. Somebody has it.
Oh, Angie does. Angie does. Okay. Yeah.
I want you to hear what I am saying in that letter, because
Okay.
I'm the 6-minute mom, got there in 6 minutes when my son called and said, you know, I'm getting shot at, basically. So she kind of said that, like that was my story. He was at Texaco, he was fine, and he's actually doing much better than I am, I think. My question is for you, Mr. Turner. Why is this acceptable in your eyes, that this whole situation has happened? I have to only assume that it's acceptable because you haven't said anything. You sat and did nothing. You all did. All weekend, parents have been upset, confused, freaking out. And now we're just pissed. I'm pissed. I want answers. We all want answers. And that answer cannot be, we're investigating. You had ample time to figure out, was there a gun or was there not? That's what I need to know so that I can send my children back to school. Because until I know if there was a gun there, my kids aren't going to school. Period. They are not going to show up at that school with a threat of guns. Not happening. You, sir, failed our children. You have failed the parents. You have failed New Caney ISD. And the buck stops with you. This very well might not be your fault or your problem, I guess. But it stops with you, and I'm holding you accountable over everybody else. I want to know the truth, Mr. Turner. What are you going to do to fix this? Stop sweeping things under the rug. That's all we do in this district. And at Porter High School, all they do is sweep it under, sweep it under. Here, report this, report that. It's not helping. My kids are scared to go to school. That is not okay. I want Porter High School to do better. But I want you all to do better. This district needs to do better. That's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Miss Morgan. Oh, that's all. No? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is Miss Morgan. Laura? Yes.
Yes, sorry,
Morgan?
I thought that it was just the people in the front that were going. I just have questions. I guess what I would like you guys to look into is, do we have, as a district, do we have a process in place to report and investigate these types of events? And I mean, we have to assume that they're going to keep happening. And in that process, do we work with local law enforcement? I mean, a really good friend of mine is a state trooper, and he is, concerned that local law enforcement wasn't notified, or they haven't even been asked to help do this last incident, which was pretty traumatizing based on the stories I've heard. And I have kids at 3 campuses in this district, so that's concerning to me, like just the general, what's the protocol here? And if there's not a protocol in place, let's get one, and let's communicate it to the parents and the community in general. I mean, if we're taxpayers here, we should be able to know that our schools in our district are safe and what our schools are doing. I know we've heard a lot of emotional stories. I'm very grateful that my children don't attend Porter High School and weren't involved in this incident, because it, sounds horrifying. But, I have kids that were at New Caney Middle School when there have been threats there before. I mean, it's very, very scary when your baby, even though they might be a senior in high school, they're still your baby, when your baby is in a situation where they could potentially be harmed. So I think the biggest things are, what's the protocol? Are administrators trained? We have administrators at every single event. Are they trained to say, okay, this is what's happening, this is who I need to call, what are the next steps? And, I think someone said it, I get calls when there's a traffic, when the bus is going to be late, we get calls from the district all the time notifying us of things, and I'm not complaining about that. That's great. I love that we can get up-to-date, updated information. We should be able to be informed on things, especially at this caliber, when things like this happen. So, that's why I'm here today. That's why I asked to speak, was just kind of in response to what happened. Like I said, my child was not directly involved in it, but even though my high school student goes to Infinity High School, she was scared to go to school this morning, because the threats are not just there. Because this happened, it's going everywhere, and they're high school kids, and they have all, and with social media, it just makes rumors spread even faster. So, so that's why I came today, was just to ask that if we don't have a process or protocol in place, that you guys start working on that for us. I think that's something that probably every parent here wouldn't say no to. It's not going to hurt us. And it within that protocol to please include something about communicating to parents, because that's the worst, is just not knowing if your kid is safe or not. So, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. and Mrs. Reese?
Hello. My name's Lindsay Reese. This is my husband, Ben Reese. Our children attend Porter High School, and we were at in Crippen, and they were at the homecoming, Trinity was. Real quick, I want to share her experience. I get a phone call similar to the same as what other people have shared, and, she says, Mom, come get me. There's been a shooting, and she's running out of the school frantically. In the process, she gets shoved and pushed down, and she has scrapes all over her and stepped on, and it was awful. That's the worst call you want to get from your kid. And so we have some specific questions. Okay, so regarding the incident that took place at homecoming, why was there such a delay in communication from, notifying the parents? Number one, to pick up your kid. My kid is 14. She doesn't drive. We dropped her off thinking she was in good hands. Nobody told us anything. Luckily, she had her phone, and she called us. And then second, why is there such a delay in addressing the allegations? that transpired. We have a lot of information that was, transpired between then and now. And, we've seen videos of the guns at the school. So our kids are completely just traumatized from this. She just doesn't know. She's asked me, Mom, is this normal? I said, no, this is not normal. So, maybe we do like they do fire drills. Maybe we do I don't know if that's in place or not. Like a shooting drill, unfortunately. How to react. Because she actually went up to the officer at the thing and said, I got information that there was a gun here. Am I safe? Am I safe being here? And the officer didn't answer her. He radios in his earpiece and asks whomever he's talking to. And she's standing there, and,
Here's my issue. This is a freshman girl. Some of y'all got freshmen that are going to homecoming next week also. Wait till you get a phone call at 10 o'clock that I'm shoved on the ground, I'm bleeding. There's a gun. I got from Humble to this school quicker than a single cop got to that school. That's pathetic. No call to a policeman. There's been no investigation with Montgomery County Sheriff. There's been no investigation with DPS, no investigation with the constable office. Why is it in-house? In-house people cannot investigate nothing because all you can do is cover your ass and all you can do is sweep things under the rug. You're out to cover yourself. You're out to cover, that's it. Nothing can get out. That'd be like the Texans completely investigating everything that's on Watson. It's in-house because they have everything to lose and everything to gain. It's not good. I should not be getting a call from my daughter that she's laying on the ground bleeding and then get a message the next day it's a hoax. Guess what? The blood on her dress, the blood on her leg, the blood on her shoes ain't a joke. It's not a joke. Yeah. She don't want to go no more. That's her first homecoming dance. That's the first experience of high school is to be running in the middle of the night away from something covered in blood. And this isn't the school. It ain't on Porter. It's a district. Because guess what? On Friday, my 7-year-old's missing. I go to the school. Where's he at? Oh, they're in the bus. No notification, no nothing. For 40 minutes, I'm looking for my kid.
Unaccounted for.
And I get a phone call about dual language concerts. I get calls about every other thing going on in Spanish. I don't even speak Spanish. In English, everything. I don't get nothing. But you can't tell where my kid's at? And then I say, get them off the bus, and they want to argue about my phone number not being right when it was, and send the kid to my house with no adult, a 7-year-old, on his own.
So that was Friday
That's a district. This ain't on Porter High School. It ain't on Crippen High School. Obviously, it's a district problem.
So communication just needs to improve. We need to come up with policies. We need to come up with something to protect our children. And that's all we're asking for is some answers. We want to know who's investigating this,
And why no one outside of New Caney ISD is investigating.
Yeah.
And there's stuff on the website saying y'all have metal detecting wands. Why wasn't it used to come into a dance when stuff can be snuck in? And who cares if they can sneak it in on the dance? They could bring it in on Friday and stash it till they come to the dance. They got dogs that can sniff bombs. They got dogs that can sniff drugs. They got dogs that can sniff guns. Not once is there a dog coming to that school that can sniff ammo and guns and gunpowder. Very simple to do it. You got one to sniff out drugs. A drug's not an immediate threat to good kids. It's an immediate threat to kids that are looking for a fix. It's not an immediate threat to a straight A student or an athlete that cares about themselves, but a bullet is when a bullet flies through a hallway and hits one of them. Or when they try to walk out of a school and get trampled by a bunch of grown-ass kids that don't want to pick up a little girl. That's messed up. That's a 100-pound, 5-foot-tall little kid running and gets stomped on and trampled. She can't even participate in sports now for at least a week because she can't walk. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Reese. Thank you for coming. Miss Barnhill? Did I say that right?
Hi, my name is Christy Barnhill. Unfortunately, my husband is out of town right now, or he would be here with me as well. I have 2 kids in the district. I have a freshman at New Caney High School. I'm very thankful right now that I did not have to go through what these ladies went through and what these other parents went through on Saturday. But apparently there's more issues. There were threats this morning. Our kids are talking about it. Everybody seems to know about it, but we don't hear anything from the schools. And I'm not going to go back over what everybody has said, but I do want to hit on kind of the main issues that it seems everybody is asking for, and that is communication. when there is a threat to the school, our kids should not be telling us, and I don't hear anything from the school until 12:15 this afternoon, when I've already had to decide whether or not I'm sending my kid to school. I did. But I did because I knew there was going to be extra security presence there. So how many kids were not in school today? We're supposed to be educating kids, and you can't do it if they're not there. Why is there not communication to the parents to tell us, we're aware of the threat, we're working on it, we have extra security? The problem is you don't have enough security. You don't have enough officers. You have to call outside sources. Why are we not calling the constable's office and the sheriff's office and the DPS office to get officers on campus when we know these things are threatened? There is absolutely no reason why we are not utilizing the resources we have. We have, 19, 18 schools, 18 campuses in the district? We don't have enough officers to even put one on each campus. And you've got thousands of kids at the high school. You need more than one officer. One is not enough. You have got to get more officers in this district. There needs to be more communication with the parents. There needs to be more communication with local law enforcement. I agree with the father that said, we cannot have the ISD investigate this. That is not their job. That is not something they do every day, is investigate crimes. You've got to get the local law enforcement involved and let them utilize their resources. They have way more resources than we do as a school district. Why is that not happening? Why are they not calling them in when they have these threats to come be a presence on campus? Because who knows, maybe just seeing the officers there will make a difference to somebody. It definitely makes a difference to me as a parent when I'm dropping my kid off in the morning, hoping I get to see him at the end of the day. So those are the main issues that I have, is I need more communication from the school in a timely manner. I need it, again, to say more than we're working on it. If there's a threat, I at least want to know that you know about it and that you're on it, that you're taking care of it, that you're tracking down where it came from. This is not the first time it's happened. When my oldest was in middle school, the same thing happened. We didn't hear about it until a week later. We knew about it because, of course, you hear about it from the kids. But we didn't hear anything from the school until a week later. That's not okay. And I still couldn't tell you what the resolution was because they don't tell you. They just said, some whatever excuse, brushing it under the rug. That's what we do. There was an incident at the high school last week. My kid comes home and says they were told they could not leave their classroom. Parents weren't told that. I got a phone call that said the buses were going to be late, or I got a text. I wasn't told why my kid was told he could not leave his classroom. Turns out it was not a safety risk, but it would have been nice to know that. Our kids are coming home and telling us this. They're getting the information on social media. We're getting the information on social media. I saw it Saturday night, and my kid doesn't even go to Porter. So why can't the school give us that information as quickly as we're getting it? It is not fair to ask these parents to send their kids back to school when they don't know if somebody brought a gun. I mean, it's just not right. We've got to have more communication. We've got to know that something is being done, because right now we don't know that anything is being done. We have no confidence that our kids are safe in school, and that's not okay. So that's my question to you guys, or I guess my task to you. I don't have all the answers. I would like for you guys to figure out where the problems are and figure out what the solutions are. Because we as parents need your help. We don't have the power to fix this. All we can do is ask you to help us fix this. But I think it definitely has to start with communication. And I also fully believe that we really need to look at our ISD police department and get some more officers in these schools. We've got to have more people because we just have too many kids now. We're not a tiny district anymore. We have a lot of people. We've got to have the police presence that matches that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Matt Gray? No, it's not there. How you doing, sir?
Hey guys, saw some pretty heavy stuff. I had a freshman at the school on Saturday night as well. She didn't go to school today, so to say it's taxing on a parent is to put it lightly. I didn't originally come to speak about that, but it's hard not to given the circumstances. So you guys have a big burden on your shoulders you got to deal with, and I trust y'all will handle it correctly and do a good job. We elected you and expect you to fully take care of it. But this will be pretty light compared to what we've been hearing tonight, but I'll go ahead and say it anyway and go into it. Before I segue into that, right before we were terrified of COVID, school shooters or shootouts in the classroom was what everyone was afraid of. And then we've been so focused on COVID for 2 years. Are we going to be so lucky to have a hybrid year? We get to worry about this and COVID. Lucky us, right? So anyway, I was kind of annoyed about the protocol put in place with the parents not being able to go see the elementary kids or anything else. Like I said, this is pretty light compared to Porter High School's incident on Saturday. So I wanted to use that as a vehicle to talk about what else we can do to cut down on cases in the district. And I've been asking around and doing some investigations and looking at other school districts and what we're doing. And I stand behind you guys in the state of Texas and Governor Abbott on the mask mandates. It's individual liberty, and if you want to wear a mask. If not, don't. So, but what some other districts are doing and what I think we can do here, instead of gaslighting and keeping parents out of the school, to have lunch with the elementary kids, who I will say are the lowest demographic to be affected by COVID-19 and things like that, would be to challenge you to put your money where your mouth is, or the taxpayer money. And so when I say that, have we been investigating or looking into anything in the air cleaners? There's some really good things out there like bipolar ionization. I'm not a scientist, but that it goes through and puts out ions that attach to the molecules, and depending on the MERV rating of your air filters will attach and supposedly makes it safer. You've got UV lights. There's another one, IVP, air room cleaners. None of this stuff's going to be cheap. None of the stuff we've heard tonight's going to be cheap. For security or metal detectors or law enforcement, nothing's cheap. This is, you guys got a big burden. You got a lot of decisions to make, but I'm challenging you to find the money in the budgets, to address some of these issues and try to make it a safer place across the board, and this COVID-19 isn't the issue today, but it will be, next Monday. So, but with all those items, I just want to challenge you guys to look into it, get some quotes and ask around. It's not like it just cuts down on COVID-19. We don't hear about flu cases or cold cases or any of the other stuff anymore, but it just makes it a nicer place. And I would also challenge you to go through and look at how many things like bottle fillers in the schools. I know we've got them, but why don't we increase the availability to the elementary kids, middle school kids, high school kids? That way we're cutting down on contact with the water fountains, just different things like that. I'm sure teachers in the district are providing hand sanitizers. Just keep the protocol up. I know we're maxed out in operations, custodial. These people are y'all probably shorthanded with people sick. Most people probably don't even take that in consideration. It's a thankless job you guys have. It's a thankless job the teachers have, and everybody trying to deal with this. So in spite of everything else, I'll keep you guys in my prayers, and I hope you have the fortitude to come up with a good solution with everything. And we're counting on you guys to help deal with this stuff. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. We appreciate the work. Ms. Siobhan Martinez, how are you?
Okay. I actually came here this evening to talk about the AVID program again, which deals with advanced placement courses, primarily for middle school. And I think I've mentioned that before, probably about 2 years ago. And then also the AP courses, especially at the high school. And my 3 teenagers are at Porter High School. They're at Porter High School. They all 3 went to the prom, freshman, sophomore, senior. And in the case of my children, they actually pretty much one left earlier to go with friends. And then the youngest one, who was a freshman, she actually called us about 10 minutes till 10, said she had heard the rumor. As soon as she called, we went to pick her up. When we went to pick her up, there were actually quite a few kids at that point in time leaving in an orderly fashion, but I just noticed a lot of kids were leaving. I asked her what was going on. She told us. I, in turn, took her to the party where her sister was at. And while there, about 5 to 10 minutes later, her friend had called her to let us know that they had heard something. There were kids running everywhere. And so we actually went back to the school to pick up her friend. And we saw a couple of other students to see if they needed a ride. So what most of these parents are saying is very accurate. I'm going to say in the sense that my family was already fortunate enough because my kids had pretty much left before that happened. But we did have one friend that we went to pick up, and she did not go to school today. We sent all of our kids to school today, and all of our kids are in AP courses. There probably weren't a lot of people there, but we sent them to school because that's what we did. So just to kind of get back on the topic that I brought up, one of the main things in the advanced placement courses, when my son originally took the advanced placement courses, I weren't very familiar about the AP test. And then we got into COVID, and so I believe in 2019, the AP people actually said they were going to go ahead and just give the majority of the kids a 3 because they were trying to figure out a way to kind of get that done. Last year, they actually had to do the AP courses the right way. I was very disappointed in the scores that New Caney actually received, and then I started looking more into AP exams because I didn't do AP, so I didn't know anything about it. The average score for the AP exams is actually a 3. Approximately 60% of the students who take that will actually get a 3. In New Caney School District, we probably had about, and I have the exact numbers here, but I'm just going to round it off. We probably had about 35% of the students who actually took the exam, but then we only had about 27% of them to actually pass with a 3 or higher. One of the main concerns that I had was just, I don't think our teachers that were doing the AP course and just had all of the materials that they needed. I believe that to be the case because I did have a comparison student who actually went to Porter for the first half, and then he went to Kingwood High School during the second half. And when he went to Kingwood High School, he actually said the person that was teaching the human geography course was teaching it more on a collegiate level versus what was going on at Porter. That student did get a higher score. And so I think part of it does go into the teaching. Porter High School now has some new AP instructors who are actually looking more into it. I'm also very glad that New Caney ISD currently now have a college advisor who actually provided me with a lot of that data that I saw. So the main thing that I would just like to mention is I think that as a school district, we really should look into the AVID program to actually try to help our middle school students to where they're looking more for a collegiate path. I think we're doing very good with that career and technical track. That's outstanding. But there are still kids in this district who want to go to college, and I think it's time that we kind of focus on them just a little bit, if we can. I also think if we have that AVID program in the middle school, that allows for those students that are currently there, because now, as many people have mentioned, the school district is getting larger now. There are more people coming here. I'm not going to go into that term of saying undesirables, but this community is growing. And I think it's very important that we actually start realizing that we have students who are going to do more than just ag. Not to offend anybody, but that's what I'm saying. So if the district would please just kind of look into the advanced via individual determination. The Texas Senate actually looked into it, and they have a bill out there. So you can see where they were recommending it. And I think it will actually help our school district, and it will actually help our students too. So, thank you.
We're going to move item 4 and pull up item 5, which is the agenda, is superintendent's report, so we can address a couple things here. Mr. Calvert.
Sir, Mr. Turner, just first of all, thank y'all for coming out tonight to advocate for your kids. As a parent of district kids myself, I expect to pick them up the same way I drop them off every morning too. So thank you for coming out tonight and voicing your concerns with us, and we take all that to heart, and we take it very serious. So just to address a couple of things in the superintendent report tonight, wanted to provide a COVID update for the district. So on August 27th, we had approximately 547 positive cases between our staff and our students. At that time, as many of you are aware, we took the stance of we need to put some more mitigation efforts in place, things that have already been mentioned tonight. And due to the efforts of our students, our staff, our parents, our custodians, everybody in this district, last I checked today when I came over here, we're down to 65 cases in the district. So we are going to reevaluate our COVID practices continually through the end of September. And if our data stays the same, we'll make those necessary adjustments when we come back after the October break. As always, we're going to make decisions based on factual data from our district, and the data is trending in a very positive direction right now. So at this point in time, we can assume that's the way the decisions will be trending as well. To address what many of you showed up tonight to talk about in this report, the incident that happened at the homecoming dance at Porter High School on Saturday night. Again, a lot of you are already aware of this situation, but I do want to go over some facts of the incident. So since Saturday night, there has been a continuous stream of allegations of what exactly happened at that homecoming dance. And the overwhelming majority of that information that has been shared online is filled with inaccuracies and only continues to be a disruption to the students, staff, and families of Porter High School. So there is an ongoing investigation by Porter High School administration and our new Caney ISD Police Department. But here are the facts as we know them right now. At approximately 9:50 p.m., students reported to an on-duty new Caney ISD police officer and a Porter High School assistant principal that they heard a rumor of someone having a gun at the event. The new Caney ISD police officers and the Porter High School administrative team began to immediately investigate to find this source of the rumor and to take any necessary action. Then at approximately 9:55 p.m., groups of students started walking towards the parking lot to leave the dance. At approximately 10 p.m., a small group of students ran out of the campus towards where students were leaving, causing a large group of students to run towards their vehicles and all of these off-campus locations. Shortly after that, students could be seen running out of the cafeteria to off-campus locations. At approximately 10:05, Porter High School administration was gathering students from various locations around campus, checking on them, checking on their safety. Administrators and teachers were facilitating students leaving the event from campus, and the last student was picked up at 11:30 p.m. So at no point were there any gunshots on the Porter High School campus during the event. And once the district gathered all of the facts of the event from Saturday night, Mr. Condarco sent out an email to the parents informing them of what was going on. So as we've stated before, this is an ongoing investigation. There is a lot of pieces to this investigation. And our administrative team at Porter High School and our police department are taking care of things. This isn't lost on us that this is a very stressful situation Saturday night. As a parent myself, I cannot imagine getting that phone call from my kid or their school. So it saddens me that the irresponsible actions of a few made this celebratory event so scary for so many. And just rest assured, once the investigation is complete, all the appropriate disciplinary measures will be taken on those students who are responsible for this. Then to make matters worse, the flood of misinformation on various social media platforms has caused our students and parents to feel great concern for their safety at Porter High School. We will continue to provide factual information to our families at all times, especially when events such as this occurs after we have investigated all of the facts. The worst thing we can do is put out more misinformation during a stressful time. So we do appreciate those students who chose to do the right thing and report what they had heard to an adult on campus. We appreciate our students and community members who have been able to utilize our Safe Schools reporting software, and they utilize the Montgomery County Crime Stoppers program through the Sheriff's Department to inform us of what actually happened and what they're hearing about those incidents. To you parents that have reached out to Mr. Condarco, to the district today, to confirm the facts of the situation, offer information, thank you for doing that too. We appreciate you being part of the solution and not being part of the problem. So we will continue to provide updates as we can, as this is an ongoing investigation. But I can tell you at this time, there is no credible threat to the safety of the students at Porter High School. That's all I have to say.
Okay. We'll now move into item 4 on the agenda is it's closed meeting. Before we go into that, off script. Everybody up here has kids in the district. I was in the barn with a bunch of the other kids when the call came in that there was some disrupting at the school. If anybody in this building doesn't think that I care about the kids of this school district, you're a fool. And I will be straight up tell you that. I care about these kids, so does everybody else up here. Huh? Sir? Well, again, I'm going to state that everybody up here is here to take care of the kids of New Caney ISD. Well, first of all, there's a dam there. Well, sir, I would just like to say, I would like to respectfully disagree. I'm standing right here. I'm right here. I'm respectfully disagreeing with what you've heard, sir. What would benefit me by not acknowledging that there was an issue? We would just, again, okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Again, I want everybody to understand that I appreciate Miss. Hey, sir, I'm going to ask you to stop. That's it. I've been real nice with you. I'm going to ask her. I'm going to escort. Okay. Well, I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you good? Is that enough? Okay. Because I've been respectful to you, now you're going to be to me, right? So I do appreciate you writing. Who wrote the letter for me? So I will read that. I haven't had a chance. I mean, obviously, it was just handed to me. So we obviously take all these things extremely seriously, and we are going to. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands that everybody up here cares about kids. We all have kids in this district. We all care about everybody in this district, regardless if it's a student or if it's a teacher, or if anybody. So we will look into this, and we will continue to do what's best for the kids at New Caney ISD. Ma'am? I agree. No, I agree, ma'am. I walk the hallways just like, yes, ma'am, I agree. And we again, I would like to say that most of us walk the halls at New Caney except for 2 of us. I went here. I walked that hall. Well, I'm just saying, we're all on the same page here regardless, but I do want you to set that some of us have been in that school. So I'm just saying that everybody up here has the same desire, which is to provide us a safe and orderly environment. And we're going to continue. What about?
What do I tell them? Because you said there was no shooting. Okay, great. But somebody shot. Was there a gun?
It's still being investigated. At this point, I'm not in law enforcement. I don't.
Y'all know what he's talking about, like the Snapchat video?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know that you're asking me to ask questions that I just don't know.
I'm just asking. Have you seen the Snapchat videos that he was referring to?
I don't have Snapchat, sorry.
Well, I have recordings of them. They're on Facebook. They're everywhere. But I need to find out those little kids and get them out of school. I need my kids.
I'll tell you this. I don't know. And again, we are working on it. There has been multiple of them identified, and then we will be handling those gentlemen.
What are you going to do if I am not comfortable sending my kids to school? Am I going to be in trouble legally because I send them, even though they're going to do their work?
I would, at this point, I would send your kids back to school. I mean, we're here. We've got our people in place. We're going to continue to do what we've been doing.
It's been like less days, and I felt my kids were sick.
Yeah.
I need you to understand that. I need.
Well, there's more than just me, because I'm a group. I mean, I'm just the guy with the mic. I mean, we're all one group. Yeah, we are one group,
Are you
yes.
in charge or not? Who's in charge?
I'm in charge, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I need to know if there was a gun or not before I am comfortable sending my child.
Yeah. And again,
So what she's asking is if there is alternate for the person that are going to be the school. Yeah, I just don't want to go to freaking court because I care too much about my children.
let them speak the right, let them.
Like anybody, right? But I was that night right there. I'm living for my child. I can gather a bunch of information from everybody. I was there. Yes, I saw a bunch of kids coming out for me. After that, I saw all of them running. So the first thing, my instinct was kick in and go inside too. But you gotta understand, parents that are here because of that. You gotta understand that the kids are not having a good day.
Oh, I understand, yes, we understand.
So you can't say, I advise everybody to go back to school.
I just need to know, am I going to be in trouble when I don't send my
If you're in
kids?
that setting, I don't know if you were there that night or no. And so you can't comprehend that.
We're going to have to recall and get the finance as the law,
What is he, I can't hear.
That's not okay.
Chief, will you grab him for me, please? Will you? I mean, that's just not a real fair statement, but we'll ask that you to be escorted until we can.
I'm not a cop. I didn't have to join our cop. So listen,
No, I'll get-
my job is to do an investigation, for instance, and I'm a professional. My expertise. Are we not getting the Montgomery County, Rowdy Hayden's group?
Yes.
Help.
Yes, we all want that. That's what we need.
That's all right. I said, like, get the professionals that know what to look for, that know how to scrub the internet, look for stuff. Why are they not involved? Yeah, we're all seeing what's posted on the internet, but where's it stemming from?
You're told not
They
to
know how to
respond.
look, dig through the stuff, actually find the facts. I mean, I don't feel safe with my kids. You don't want to go. You don't want to miss classes, but am I going to put her in there and risk her grades over her life? No. I can't go in there with a gun on my hip to protect her all day.
All right.
So I'm saying she's safe is with me.
So the response that we need to know right now is Montgomery County had a fight in on this.
I don't.
So who determines that? If the school board does not determine if the Caney ISD can get Montgomery County in here to help investigate with the police department, who speaks? So if we're speaking to the wrong people right now, that's okay. Great. We made a mistake coming here tonight. We're speaking to the wrong people.
No, you didn't.
So who's the right people that we ask when the sheriff's department gets pulled in?
Yeah.
I don't know. None of us know.
Wait,
Right now. But we will get. Tomorrow morning?
How do we find this,
Whenever.
like, the answers?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Y'all gonna email
Can I
it?
say one thing? I'm sorry, just one. Everyone is having a lot of comments here, but one thing that has not been said in actuality is like, what can the school, the counselors that are currently there, have offered anything for those students to actually deal with the trauma
No.
that they're going through?
I haven't seen an email.
I don't know
Hey,
if you have or
your
if
kid
you
is
have not.
struggling. Come on, I'll help.
No, we get told to shut down and don't say anything.
And the kids that went to school, they said, don't talk about it.
When you're referring to the New Caney situation? Or
They're telling the
Or-
kids they cannot speak about anything. They
What if
can't
they were
talk about
trying
it.
to talk about the
They're
drama?
processing stuff.
No, I know. I've seen it.
They gotta process the rumors too. They still have trauma.
Okay,
Respectfully, I'm sorry. Respectfully, I did speak to people today. But that was my concern, because when I took my kid to church on Sunday, we watched him. And while he was there physically, he wasn't there mentally. And that's what we focused on. We focused on, tell us about the good part of the dance, right? Tell us what happened before all. That's what I was trying to say. What are you going to do? Because the trauma is real, right? Regardless of how the investigation results. The trauma that our children have is real. The
trauma your parents had is real. So the silence isn't going to work. We'll tell you when it's done investigating. There's too much silence. What I asked today was, what do you have set up for these kids? Are the counselors available? Parents need to know the counselors are available. Yes, they are. I asked, I was told, tell us that ahead of time. Y'all have to be proactive because this is what you're getting because of the quiet. And because students going to school, a third of the class was there because after I was comfortable, after I laid my eyes on what was going on, I let my kid go to school. But I stayed home today because I live 5 minutes away, and I told him, call me if you are uncomfortable, and I will come get you. But I need you to go over and face your fear, and it will be okay because everybody's vigilant on day one. And that's the thing. So that's why the questions are, what are you going to do to let us be secure so that our children will be secure? Because if your parents aren't secure, your kids aren't going to be secure. Y'all have got to be communicative. Every single one I heard was about communication. Your parents. God forbid you ever get that call or see your kid running for their life. Because, the call from the kid. So put yourself in that mode and say, what would I want for my kid if, when I look at them, they're not there? And then give the answers. Don't wait until the investigation's over, because I talked to Montgomery County. They do know about it. It's not quiet to them.
Yeah, my daughter's on 911, freaking out.
Let them know that. Montgomery County knows the incident happened. They have a report. It's not a big secret. That's calming to us, though, because we know our kids are being taken care of. That's all they're looking for. Not the status quo. We'll tell you when we're done. Tell us now. Let us know resources that are available for our kids right now for those that are traumatized. And that you have something in place to protect them on day 6, just like you did today. That's it. That's all we ask.
Silence equals type. Just communicate. Send your emails. We're working on it, or we found this out. I mean, the more the information, the better. The calmer I'm going to be. I feel like I'm going to explode.
Right. I mean,
One of them, there's a good protocol called run, hide, fight. It's called in plan. We teach it down in the fort. When we were down in the fort, and that was like, my son was in 8th grade, so he's been here for 5 years, 6 years. But it's called run, hide, fight.
Right.
It teaches you when to run, when to hide, when to fight. It's not that we have to teach that. Don't get me wrong, that is so sad. But it's a reality. And if we keep just pulling the blind over our eyes, thinking that, oh, it's going to pass our little town, it's going to pass our little town. Our little town is passing a little town. We're no longer little. You are big city.
we are.
What are we, a 5A or 6A school? I can't remember. 5A? Almost 6A? Yeah? That's huge.
Yeah. And you know, we'll definitely be looking at the communication. I mean, again, you know, understand from our perspective is, what was I going to tell you Saturday night? Something happened. I could say that, but I don't, you know what I'm saying? So
Come get your kids.
we got in a situation. We need to, we will definitely work on our communication side of it to try to get you guys something quicker, even if it's just a tidbit of what's going on.
Yeah, even if it's you know what I wanted someone to reach out and say, did your kids go to dance? Are they okay? I feel like no one, no teacher, no staff, nobody cares at all.
Yeah. Okay, I would tell you that we could definitely do a better, we agree that we could send a snippet of something out as quickly as possible. We definitely agree that we could have done better there, and that's something that we'll look at internally to make sure that we try to get that snippet out. We're just real cautious about not putting information out there that's not valid. You don't want me sending stuff out that's not true.
No, but I want you to tell me.
But you don't want me sending information out that's not true. That's fair. So what I want to do is be able to send that snippet of information out and say, hey, here's what's there. And then that way, at least you're aware of it. And then that way we can get the qualified data and get it.
As a parent, I would have appreciated just a text that says, due to some unfortunate event, the dance has ended early. Please come get your child.
And again, we would agree that we should have done better there. And now, as I stand here in front of you, as me being the representative of everybody, we could have done a better job there communicating something a little quicker there, and I would agree. So, right. Yeah. So we would agree that, and with it, we will be taking, I'll be reading your note, and I'll reach out. Did you leave your number and everything for me? I'll get it. And I'll be reading into that, and again, we will be looking into a lot of these things, and a lot of these things are in place, and we'll be making sure we may push some more stuff out through our internet to let you guys dig into some of the things that we do that a lot of people don't know that we're doing, and we will definitely get that out to the forefront so we can see that. So we will end with that at this point, and again, my email address is on the website, as is everybody else's. Please, if there's something else that we can do to help, we're here. You know, the kids, like I said, we're here for the kids. And we definitely want to hear if there's something going on out there. My tax dollars too. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah, we have 17 total. It's 17,000 total, yes, ma'am. Yeah, and that's a fair application. That's a budget issue, and we continue to look at that. We've added cops every year. 4 years ago, we didn't have but 4. Now we're up to chief. Where you at? How many we got? Say it again louder. Okay. So we will be looking at those budgets every year. We've added cops every single year, and we will continue to work on that. But we're going to end with that. We're going to go into closed meeting. And I appreciate from the bottom of my heart, all of us up here, the ones that came. Thank you so much for coming. The board will now meet in closed meeting under authority of Texas Government Code 551.074 for the purpose of personal matters, Government Code 551.071 for attorney consultation, and Government Code 551.072 for deliberation regarding the action, purchase, exchange, lease of value of real property. Any action, the result of closed meeting discussion will take place after the board reconvenes. Current time, 7:25. Board now reconvenes in open session at 8:32. Item 6 on the agendas, reports and proposals of board members. Anybody have anything? Moving into item 7 on the agenda is consideration consent calendar, consideration of minutes, consideration of financial reports, consideration of purchasing reports, consideration of personnel reports, consideration of school health advisory committee nominees, consideration of Montgomery County 4-H resolution, and consideration of local policy update, and consideration of the 7th grade reading instrument waiver for 2021-2022. Are there any other questions or further discussion on this matter? Is there a motion to approve the items on the consent calendar? Motion have been moved and seconded. There be no further discussion. A vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is approved. Moving into item 8 on the agenda is consideration of the resolution submitting nominee for the committee of the election of the Montgomery County Central Appraisal District Board of Trustees 2022-2023, presented by Mr. Calvert.
time of year for you guys to nominate some to serve on the appraisal board for Montgomery County. Please, make recommendations.
How you? Okay. Rick, yeah.
I move to support nomination. I think.
Is there a second? Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is approved. Moving into item 9 on the agenda is the consideration of resolution of the Board of Trustees of New Caney ISD nominating a candidate for the position of Board of Directors for Harris County Appraisal District. Again, so Craig is, I'm going to nominate Guy Hancock. And Craig has a motion. Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Any opposed, no. The motion is approved. Moving into item 10 on the agenda is the consideration of the approval of additional cost of materials needed to manufacture the lockers at the new comprehensive high school number 3, West Fork, and presented by Mr. Kyle.
Yes, sir. This is a request from our construction department asking for a change order to help manufacture and construct the lockers at West Fork High School. Keep that project on time and be ready for the kids in August 22.
Any other questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the additional costs of material needed to manufacture lockers at new comprehensive high school number 3? Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Motion is approved. Moving into item 11 on the agenda is consideration and approval of application, the school closure waiver for New Caney ISD, September 14th, 2021, due to the Hurricane Nicholas. Mr. Castleberry.
Yes, sir. We'd ask the board to approve the request for the school closure waiver application for September 14th, 2021, due to Hurricane Nicholas for New Caney ISD.
Any other questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the application for the school closure waiver for New Caney ISD on September 14th, 2021 due to Hurricane Nicholas? Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Motion is approved. Moving into item 12 on the agenda is consideration of the resolution for September 14th, 2021 due to Hurricane Nicholas, presented by Miss Amarantos. Did I get it?
You did. You actually did.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to say it on the other two because I already got it.
And so on this one, this is the same, very similar. NCISD was closed on September 13th, 2021 due to inclement weather from Tropical Storm Nicholas. Given the circumstances, a request to the Board of Trustees to authorize the superintendent not to dock the pay of NCISD employees for work days not made up on the revised calendar.
Perfect. Thank you. Are there any other questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to consideration the amendment of the 2021-2020, wrong spot. I got to move it up. Is there a motion to approve the resolution for September 14th, 2021 due to Hurricane Nicholas? Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is approved. Moving back into item 13 on the agenda is the consideration of the amendment to the 2021-2022 New Caney ISD Comprehensive Plan, Compensation Plan. Sorry, Ms. Amarantos.
Yes, wow. I feel like such a nice welcome back. So hello again. So my item is actually called the Campus Instructional Support Plan. And this is specifically an amendment or proposed amendment to the already approved New Caney ISD Compensation Plan. So this item specifically is being presented as an avenue or reward to incentivize teachers for their extra work and support that they provide students and for their campus.
So specifically, due to a substitute teacher shortage that all districts are experiencing right now, and our campuses are as well, some teachers volunteer to pick up a particular class on campus to help their campus and their administration out. You'll see things like that, picking up an extra class or an extra section from high school teachers and for middle school teachers. Also, the same is being done at the elementary school, a little bit differently, just because they have different schedules. But our elementary teachers are also taking on extra students. If we actually kind of show up to the campus and we're short a sub, some of those students are transitioned into some other teachers' classrooms because they teach particular grade levels that are similar to each other or subject matter, and so it makes it a little bit easy to take on those students. And of course, these teachers are so willing to do those things, to support the students, to support their campus during this time. But in the long run, actually, these teachers stepping up and providing this type of support for our students and their campus, it really becomes a situation that's actually best for our students. Because at the end of the day, when teachers are willing to do things like that, the instruction for the day is more productive, it's more effective, and we have kids in front of our qualified staff. So because we know that teachers already do this from time to time, and this isn't unique to us, you know, we have teachers that step up on a daily basis. We want to reward them and show them how much we appreciate their extra effort and remind them how impactful they are when they stand before a group of students, whether they're their own or whether they're our campus students. So this is just that extra way to pay them when they step up and give instruction to additional students. This is what that boils down to.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
And just so everybody knows what that is, at the secondary level, it's $30 for extra class that a teacher picks up at middle school and high school. And at our elementary schools, if they split a class, if they take on additional kids, it's $50 extra for that entire day. And so our intent is to, you know, bank that up, and with our first $500 retention stipend in November, right there before Christmas shopping time, we will pay all this extra work at that time, and so give our teachers a nice incentive, nice bonus right there before the holidays for taking on all these extra duties. So I know they'll be looking forward to that time of year, so appreciate y'all's support on that.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Right. Awesome. And I always like to give credit where credit's due. You know, we listen to our principals. We listen to principals coming up with innovative ideas, you know, and really kind of talking through. So sometimes I'm like, you know what, it's not just HR. We really collectively talk to them on a regular basis. We're always talking to Mr. Calvert and really just kind of coming up with solutions. But it's always based on what you just said. We want to reward teachers for what they're already doing. So, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you.
What else we got? 14, 15. But I need to get a motion. Any other questions or further discussion? Is there a motion to approve the amendment to the 2021-2022 New Caney ISD compensation plan? Motion has been moved and seconded. There will be no further discussion. A vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Those no, the motion is approved. We're going to move into 14 and 15. So item 14 on the agenda is consideration to take action, pursue sanction for contract abandonment of a teacher at Pine Valley Middle School.
Asking y'all to approve previously discussed action on the teacher for contract abandonment at Pine Valley Middle School.
Any other questions or further discussion? Do you have a motion?
I move that the board reject the attempted resignation of a teacher at Pine Valley Middle School because the teacher lacked good cause to resign after the penalty-free resignation deadline, and that the board authorize the superintendent or designee to seek sanctions against the teacher with the State Board of Education.
Have a second? Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Motion is approved. Moving into item 15, the agenda is to discuss the permanently take action upon the Administration proposal to terminate the contract of a teacher/coach at Woodridge Forest Middle School. Been presented by Mr. Calvert.
Yes, sir. Again, this is asking for y'all support in following our recommendations for the staff member at Woodridge Forest Middle School.
Do you have a motion?
I move that we act upon administration's recommendation to propose the termination of the term contract of a teacher coach at Woodridge Forest Middle School and delegate authority to the administration to provide notice to the employee of said action.
Motion has been moved and seconded. There being no further discussion, a vote will be taken. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is approved. There being no further business, meeting is adjourned at 8:44.